Hello, welcome to Rebel Base, IGN's weekly Star Wars show.
It's all kicking off on Twitter, Daniel. We've got Duncan Jones, the director of the Warcraft movie, taking on Mr. Rian Johnson, director of Episode 8. What happened?
Well, you brought this to my attention this morning.
Yeah.
It seems like a little bit of light-hearted banter initially, but then it descends into... Well, we'll get onto that, but it seems to descend into...
Vicious.
Quite intense.
Like most battles.
But obviously this played out on Twitter.
Yeah.
We're not just going to show you a load of tweets. We thought we'd act it out.
Act it out. Do our best impressions of Duncan Jones and Rian Johnson.
So who do you want to be?
I'll go Duncan Jones.
Round 1. Fight!
Shooting on film is just vinyl for movie hipsters. Discuss. Now, he likes to go on Twitter. He likes to engage with his fans. He likes to engage with fellow filmmakers. You know, he's just asking a little innocuous question.
Tweet.
Shooting on film is just vinyl for movie hipsters. Discuss. Rian Johnson wades in.
You're just vinyl for movie hipsters.
No, I think he says, you're just vinyl for movie hipsters.
Don't give me a line read.
Well, I'm just saying that's what I think. I think it's like saying, like, you're. just
You're.
fine. Yeah, like that. He's getting right in his face. Duncan Jones comes back. And, like, I think Rian Johnson there is just mucking around. Duncan Jones, though, JJ gave you all his short ends to shoot on, didn't he?
Did you do Warcraft on the 6 or the 6S?
Oh, that is a burn, Rian Johnson. Absolute burn. Duncan Jones. Oh, we're doing this. How tough was it convincing the committee to let you frame up your own shots? And then a shot of a man getting punched in the face.
Yeah, probably just show that. Is your release going to be multi-console? Because it's a video game movie.
Oh, that's gonna smart, isn't it? That's gonna smart. Because he's basically saying that he's making a video game, not a video game movie. I think that's really good. Duncan Jones, though, says the guy who made the movie following the guy who followed up those 3 other movies that came after the ones we loved. Oh.
So, at this moment, there's a turn in the conversation.
Okay.
I feel like Rian Johnson kind of wants to put some of this to rest, sit down, break bread,
Yeah.
make friends. All kidding aside, I'll be there opening night. I am so curious to see how you squeeze the 4th movie out of The Hobbit. No, he didn't!
Does he drop the mic? Does he, Daniel? Because it carries on. Duncan Jones, just laughing at how depressed your accountant's going to be when all that Star Wars money skips right past you to Lucas.
He went for the economics there.
But at the same time, I think Rian Johnson so far is winning this for me because he's been the wittiest. That, right? That's like...
Lifting the curtain a bit.
Yeah, but also I think it's a little bit cheap and it also doesn't really make that much sense. I'm pretty sure Rian Johnson's making enough money out of that.
Right, Ryan goes right back and goes, the dusty banner above the Warcraft toy aisle. Hope you like orcs.
That's really, really good. Duncan Jones, though, feel for you, Ryan. Everyone will already have all the plastic crap they need by the time people stop buying merch for Episode 7. Don't really get that. Are they saying, like, no one's going to be buying toys of his film? Because that's wrong.
Yeah, and then finally, you laugh, but when the 8th installment in the Warcraft saga is coming out, you'll be facing the same challenges. Ha 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 ha.
So Ep 8, guessing this time, the baddies will be chasing a princess who'll get help from a reluctant hero and his droids. Close?
And at this point, the Twitter exchange, he said as it is, terminates because probably Rian Johnson needs to go actually make Star Wars Episode 8.
Yeah.
A bit busy.
Duncan Jones should probably be getting on with making Warcraft as well, because for everything we've seen
Get
so
rendering.
far... Get rendering. Could put that in. You could be right. You could be the real Rian Johnson. But Duncan Jones did send a tweet saying, by the way, for anyone taking this seriously, gonna kill the son of a bitch. Kidding at Rian Johnson is a very special dude. I admire hugely. Smiley face. And then Rian Johnson responded with the "You can be my wingman anytime" Top Gun gif. But also, wingman, you wants him to be his wingman. He's making a bloody film himself, mate. He doesn't mean to be anybody's wingman. Thank you very much.
So you're saying there's a one last jibe there?
I think so, yeah. So even like it's like, oh yeah, we're friends at the end. He's not. He's saying because like Val Kilmer and Tom Cruise aren't on the same level in Top Gun. No. Like Tom Cruise is there, Val Kilmer's there.
Yeah, but who's the better pilot?
I don't know. Goose.
Goose is definitely not the better pilot.
Well, he's dead, isn't he?
He's dead.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying that he's not. He's not here to defend himself. Like, don't slag off a dead man.
Well, not.
We're getting away from it.
I preferred when he died as Dr. Mark Green in ER.
Spoilers. Brilliant.
So he says, don't take this too seriously. And why have we devoted the opening section of the show to it?
I thought it was funny.
Yeah, fair enough.
Thought it was really funny. It's our time again. Daniel, force feedback. What have people been saying?
Loads of emails. First one from Lorenzo Calder Smith.
Great name.
Amazing name. The Death Star looking base on the poster doesn't look completely man-made. It looks like it has been built into the surface of a planet. If you look at the surface on either side of the trench, it looks snow-covered, which wouldn't make sense since we see a snow-covered planet in the trailers. Also, the same planet that we see the Nazi-esque First Order rally.
Yeah.
This would solve the problem of having an extremely accessible and destructive core.
I think he's
That's quite cool,
nailed
actually.
that.
Yeah, I think that's a brilliant idea, and also different to what's happened before.
Yeah, I think it's really good. So they basically have just reappropriated an entire...
Terraformed into a big terrifying weapon.
That's awesome. And it would explain the sort of snow we keep seeing everywhere.
Yeah.
Because otherwise they're going to have a base in the sky, this, what we think is the Death Star.
Bases.
And then also a base that's got snow on it.
Commute time.
Commute time.
Awful.
Nightmare. I think he's nailed that there. So I love this subject. This is what I love about this show. We got subjects with emails with subjects like Luke, dead. It's from Jaden McAllister, who says, "Hey guys, so I've been thinking about a theory mentioned in a previous email, that Luke is dead from the beginning and only appears in the form of a ghost. And this would be a reasonable explanation of why it is called The Force Awakens, as Luke has been dead for however many years, and therefore there has been no Jedi or Sith until the start of this movie, where the light side and the dark side emerge with the Knights of Ren." We've had a lot of emails about that, saying that Luke was dead all the way through it and that he's only going to appear as a Force ghost, which is why I put this in there. I don't think that's a thing.
I think he's properly alive.
Yes, because I don't think they would waste a death.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. They would show the death of Luke Skywalker on screen.
There's
Why would you
absolutely no
skip
way they
over
wouldn't.
that?
Yeah, because if
Flashback? But I think it has less dramatic weight in a flashback.
Definitely, yeah.
Because basically you're quarantining.
Yeah. The one example of a rubbish way of doing that I can think of is in the X-Files movie. I mean, we talk about X-Files all the time, I know that. But all the way through the X-Files, you're building up to this will they, won't they with Mulder and Scully. X-Files second film, they're just together. You just see them together in bed, they've been together for ages. You miss that, amazing scene of them getting
graphic
together.
detail.
Exactly.
You miss that.
And that's why I don't think Luke is going to be dead for the start, because why would they waste that death?
Yeah.
That dramatic moment.
Could be a huge moment in the movie itself.
Exactly, yeah. So I don't think he's dead from the start. No, Jaden. But thank you very much for writing in.
Okay, some more speculation following on from the trailer released last week. This is from Chris Todd. So we know that Kylo Ren and Rey have last names that haven't been revealed yet, and it's looking more and more like the Skywalkers, but I don't completely agree with that. Firstly, I think Han and Leia are no longer together.
Said that?
What?
We said that last week.
Yeah. I think they split sometime after the end of Jedi, after Luke left, and something came between them. Maybe the fire in the relationship went out, or maybe Leia's new responsibilities as a leader got in the way. Who knows?
Yeah.
Either way, these two aren't a couple anymore, and I think Kylo is their son. Like you guys said, it would completely explain his obsession with Vader and also his anger problem, since it clearly runs in the family.
Yeah.
I think Rey's full name is Rey Solo, and she is the half-sister of Kylo, so i.e. Han's gone off afterwards and had another kid with someone else. Beyond all of this, I strongly feel that Han is taking Rey and Finn to find Skywalker so he can train Finn, which would make sense for Rey to take Finn to her dad.
Yeah. I believe that as well. I really like that last bit. I think that is actually what most of the film is going to be about.
Connect the dots.
Yeah, that's what I think. This is from Don Heber, who said, "Hello, I've just discovered your show and I devoured every episode in a day and a half. I feel really sorry for you having to listen to Daniel's voice for a day and a half. Mine, probably quite soothing, I don't know. I love it. I have one question. If
No reaction there.
It's good, man. You're used to it. I have one question. If AT-AT is supposed to be pronounced AT-AT, then why isn't a TIE fighter a TIE fighter? I have younger friends, I'm 39, who insist that it's AT-AT. I really don't care one way or the other, which is why you wrote into a Star Wars show. But I've always said AT-AT. I think it's a generational thing, and I request we conduct a poll right now to find out who says what. I predict that people 36ish and older will say AT-AT, and that the rest are wrong. Thanks for a wonderful show. I intend to watch it weekly from now on. Thank you very much for your email.
Yeah, so we're going to conduct an in-depth study into this very thing, because it's like one of those big questions, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, is it dinner or tea? And I always used to say, well, at school you have dinner ladies, so that's lunchtime, isn't it? So yeah, it's similar.
Similar, yeah.
Similar.
So I mean, what do you think? Is it AT-AT? Is it AT-AT? So if you want to get in touch with us, we will be doing a show on it later on in the year. rebelbase@ign.com if you have a strong opinion about this. Daniel, what's our final bit of feedback?
This is from Matt, who's from Austria. Hey guys, he just started watching the show. Star Wars is so huge and such a big part of people's lives, And he likes our take on it. Oh, I didn't mean to read that out, but I did. My question for you is, would you want the spin-offs and the possible TV shows to be more sophisticated and mature than the main movies? I'm a big fan of Game of Thrones. I think that show does a great job at telling stories that are in such an interesting and quite realistic way, and that's what the Star Wars universe needs. I feel like what I'm missing from the universe is knowing what exactly is going on in the minds of the people who are making this wonderful universe come to life. So he's talking about whether the format of a TV show would allow like them to burrow down into the psychology of some characters more so.
Yeah, definitely. But also, I guess the anthology films as well are going to I hope are going to kind of like.
I guess they would the young Han Solo movie will give us more on that character. But I think a good comparison to what they're doing is something that Disney's doing elsewhere with Marvel. Is already after one show, you know the psychology of Daredevil as a character better than any of their other characters because by virtue you spent more time with him. I think you've been closer to him in a way.
And I think initially before I'd seen Daredevil, I was when I was thinking about Star Wars stuff, I thought it's going to be really hard to do these big sort of adventures over sort of like 10 episodes. But actually what Daredevil did was take a really, really small section of story. Like, what does it take place over? Maybe like 2 weeks, something like that?
Months,
like if that. Like, and I think you could, there's the opportunity to do a storyline that could take place over a couple of days, and you just have a little snapshot of that thing. I think it's a really cool idea.
Yeah.
Yes, excellent emails, and obviously keep sending them in. rebelbase@ign.com. Bit of news from your neck of the woods, Daniel. Tooting. No, the Ukraine, because you are half Ukrainian.
I am, thank you for telling me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And so there's a political party in the Ukraine called the Ukrainian Internet Party.
That doesn't sound like a real party.
No, it doesn't. They shouldn't have called themselves that. And recently it was announced it'll be run by a new leader, Darth Vader.
Okay.
There was an awesome quote from their new leader, Darth Vader, who said, "I alone can make an empire out of a republic to restore former glory, to return lost territories and pride for this country," that he said in a party statement. So, this party decided that the best possible leader that they could have is Darth Vader. So they paid 2.5 million hryvnia, which equates to about £136,000, $208,000, to register their party leader, okay? So Darth Vader is now their party leader. But when they turned up on the day, whose name was on the ballot paper?
Darth Vader's?
Darth Vader's wasn't.
So he didn't get elected because he wasn't on the ballot?
Because the Ukrainian government are afraid. And they should be, because his tyranny has been very well documented.
I don't know what's happening here. What's happening?
Well, what's happening is multiple things. So Darth Vader is alive and well.
Okay.
That's the thing that we should be most worried about.
And he's in the Ukraine.
And he's in the Ukraine in
he's
charge.
in Odessa.
In Odessa, in charge of the Ukrainian Internet Party. But there's more drama still, Daniel. Okay. So on the day of the election, everyone turned up to start voting for Darth Vader, who probably would have won, let's be honest. But his name was on the ballot paper, even though they paid enough money to register him, or they claimed to have paid the money to register him anyway.
So did the citizens of Ukraine revolt?
They did. Well, one did.
How did they show their agitation?
By protesting. And do you know what the worst thing is, before we get to that? The worst thing is, Darth Vader himself wasn't even allowed to vote because he wouldn't take his helmet off to identify himself. So he wasn't even allowed to vote for himself, but then even if he did, he wouldn't have been on the ballot paper. So, but then it all started kicking off because it was a protest outside led by the one and only Chewbacca. Now what Chewbacca is doing protesting to get Darth Vader in power, I do not know. Maybe it's part of a plan, maybe he's undercover, I don't know. It led to the big hairy one's arrest by Ukrainian police. He was ordered to pay about £5.
Do you reckon you have fiver on him?
Maybe.
Maybe in the bandolier.
Yeah, or maybe he swapped some spice for it. You're trying to give him some spice.
I like the fact that this all sounds like mad, like you might just be making it up. And yet there's a picture behind us depicting what actually happened. And presumably we're dropping in B-roll of Chewbacca actually getting arrested.
Yeah.
But didn't this all stem from this statue getting replaced?
Well,
so originally this statue was of Lenin.
Yeah.
And then there was an edict that said all communist symbols had to be torn down or replaced. Yeah.
So they made it into Darth Vader.
Remake, it's like a terrible This Morning makeover.
Yeah.
Where we get rid of all communist symbols. Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Because he's only associated with good stuff.
Yeah.
Freedom of thought, freedom of expression.
Well, you say that. If you go to the Darth Vader statue, you can get free Wi-Fi.
That's pretty good.
He's a symbol.
So he's beaming out free Wi-Fi?
Out of his wazoo, yeah.
Did Lenin do that?
No, he didn't. They've upgraded him. Lenny didn't do it.
Yes,
Shit.
yeah, the Ethernet.
GPRS.
Yeah. She's happy with Wi-Fi.
I don't think she is, to be honest. But yeah, what's Chewbacca doing? What's he up to?
Well,
Like-
fair play. But that thematically doesn't work because
Doesn't.
you wouldn't have Chewbacca protesting on the behalf of Darth
It's really
Vader.
strange.
It's almost like they've not really committed to it.
I generally like, if you're going to go this far, right? If you're going to go that far to go, right, we're going to get Darth Vader, and they did have some like Galactic Empire sort of other costumes on there. Then in the middle of all them is just Chewbacca. And I just think, has no one in that, the Ukraine internet party gone on the internet and gone, who's Chewbacca? Oh, he's one of the good ones. We're trying to get one of the bad ones in. Why are we doing that? I think someone just had the costume.
I know I was going to say, I think it's that. Someone in Odessa has bought some time in the recent 5 years, bought a Chewbacca outfit, and then this day came and he's like, well, it's now or never.
Yeah. Like Darth Vader's like, oh, has everyone got their costumes? He's like, well, I've got the Chewbacca one. Doesn't really work there. But, all right, Derek, bring it on then. Come on.
Vladimir. Derek's not.
I don't know.
Anyway, I see this question. Do you think it's a good idea to have Darth Vader in charge of a former Eastern Bloc nation?
As long as not in charge of like a real country that I care about.
That's offensive.
Well, it's not. Whatever goes on in Ukraine goes on in Ukraine. I've got nothing the Ukraine's going to do is going to affect me and mine. So, like, if it was like Darth Vader in charge of Wales, then yeah, I'd be on the first bus back.
Is Wales country?
Yes.
I said country.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's not a principality.
It's not. That's a very it's a misnomer. Like
very much England's wingman.
No, that's not true. But also, I wouldn't want Darth Vader, principality or country. I don't want Darth Vader in charge of Wales.
Yeah.
That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, Darth Vader, by all means, be in charge of the Ukraine. You step your foot into Aberystwyth.
Better than Putin.
Then we'll have to have a chat. Is he though?
He is.
Would you like to see Darth Vader in charge of your country? He's not going to be in charge of Wales while I'm alive.
Or unrelated to Star Wars. What do you think of Vladimir Putin? Let us know, rebelbase@ign.com.
And before we go, we've actually got a competition this week. Very cool. Halo 5 is out this week, I think, is it?
Yes.
Yes, it is. And we've got a competition to win a pretty sexy looking Halo 5 console.
Yeah, console, limited edition console, game, collector's edition, A40 headset, loads of cool stuff. And to be with a chance of winning, you've got to go to the following website. Put that up.
heroesandvillains.ign.com.
Yeah, and there's a quick quiz on that site where you pick your favourite heroes and villains, and afterwards you get a chance to enter the competition. But unfortunately, you have to live in the UK.
Damn you! So if you lived in the Ukraine, you couldn't enter.
No.
And that's probably Darth Vader's fault.
Yeah.
But yeah, you should enter that competition definitely, and we'll be back next week with another episode of Rebel Base.